a dream. Life playing out like a film, a movie that I never seen. Yeah, from different places to different locations, we changing this thing. So many stories to tell, it would not fit on the screen. What do you mean? There's hope in your story, there's hope in your passion. They don't get the picture, so we tell it like caption. Look at what happened up in your life when you take roll. God is present, you have now tuned in the official podcast, so tell it, ayy.
Yo, everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Tell It. Have a guest on, Miss Katie, who is ready to educate us and possibly counsel us. So get your pen and your pad ready. I know we got she got some good stuff for us. So first and foremost, before we get started, how are you doing? Oh, you're muted. There you go.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am good. I'm good. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. So listen. I've been watching her on Facebook. She had the BIPOC community. I jumped in there, and it's just a whole bunch of great information that I've been privy to, and then I found out that everybody that I know knows her, but somehow she doesn't know how everybody that I know knows her. So we're gonna figure that out tonight. But welcome on Tell It. Make sure you share. Make sure you heart it up as we get started. If you have not, go ahead and share that YouTube link. And when you're sharing, go ahead and subscribe, like, and so you could be tuned in to whenever Tell It is doing something else. But it's a great day, great day. It's a Thursday evening, as we always do. So, Miss Katie, before we get started, okay, before we get started, how's everything going? Before because I don't know if everybody know what it takes to get started and to settle down and go live. I know we had a conversation of what that takes. So can you just fill us in? What does that take to get settled?
A lot of energy and a whole day
Uh-huh. A whole
where
day.
you can
Yeah.
finally get to sit down and breathe, right? Especially when you
Mm-hmm.
have little ones involved. So,
There you go.
hustle bustle life, right? Where you get home, you want to make sure dinner's done, make sure kids is together, homework, baths, and then just
Man.
engage with them, right? Whatever that may be,
Mm-hmm.
writing with them, finishing up homework, reading a
Yeah.
bedtime story, and then you can kind of relax. If you have a significant other, spending that quality time with them, and
Mm-hmm.
then possibly some you time if you're not too tired to be, you know,
So there you go. So that yeah, exactly. So there you go. All that before we go live. I think I
out.
laid down on the bed for like 2 minutes, I believe. I think it was like 2 minutes, and then we have to hop back up. And look, my wife, look, she already look. Yep, they want bedtime stories,
Yes, for
and
that.
they want a
Woo.
kiss and a hug, and then they get back up, and you swore you put them down, but then they come knocking at the door, and then we
Mhm.
hop right here. It's like, all right, y'all, welcome to Tell It. Just
Right. Yeah,
all
I
that
know.
stuff
I
had to
went
get there
into
first.
all about going to bed and skip the podcast, but yes, the podcast is
Hmm.
the other bed action.
Yep, absolutely. So listen, how we do it here on Tell It with our guests, we have them actually highlight a business that they're a part of or something that they give to, so everyone else can have a chance to participate and give to it as well. So, do you have a business that you would like to highlight tonight?
Yeah, so I am a psychotherapist, so I do therapy, but I also do public speaking and different type of engagements. And so I create different tools to help people practice self care. And one of those that I absolutely love doing is journaling. And I think journaling is so powerful and it's something that I use in my practice. So I have two journals, but my business is the Life and Family Guidance, which is the private practice where I do therapy. And then I have A Day Self Care, which is a website all about self care, and it has the products and the journals that I was just speaking of. So I have one for
Nice.
families, for parents with their children, and another one for um, entrepreneurs and them
Oh,
trying to just build up their business self esteem.
nice, nice. And listen, you know how we do it on Tell It. We always have a giveaway. So if I'm not if I'm correct, you are giving one of those away, aren't you?
I am. So I would let the person pick which one they want. Do they want the parent child journal or would they like the business entrepreneur therapy guide journal?
Awesome, awesome. And so you have to stay on in order to win it. And we'll let you know how to enter. You always know we have a hashtag. So we will let you know how to enter. And you have to stay to the end though. And once you win, we'll get that straight to you. And we always come through and we always deliver. So be looking out for that. All right, before we keep going, go ahead and share, subscribe, heart it up. Make sure that this podcast, this episode gets to everybody that you know. All right, send them the YouTube link, tag them in the Facebook post. If you have any therapist friends, if you have anyone that is looking to figure out how do they self-care and how do they figure out their own needs in the midst of family and midst of loved ones and kids, all that stuff, jobs, entrepreneurship, this will be the one that you need to tune into. All right. So go ahead and do that. Before we keep going, I also want to say go ahead and follow her at Katie OIFG. That is that. Am I saying that right? So it's Katie underscore O underscore IFG. Is that it?
No, I day self care on Gmail. I mean on
No, I no. This is the Instagram. This is Instagram.
Instagram. Yeah, that's fine. You gave them my personal one, but I have
Oh
also
no,
I day self care. It's okay. It's either one. It's fine.
either one.
Yeah,
Can they follow you on this one? Okay,
yeah.
I
They can
don't get
follow
in
me on
trouble.
that.
Okay,
It's
all
all
right. Sorry
good.
about that.
That's
And
okay.
then go ahead and follow me on IG at Herbert underscore tell it. Also, make sure that you go ahead and grab some merch. I have hoodies. It's a little hot for that right now, but I also have t-shirts. You can go ahead and get you a Tell It t-shirt. Go ahead and you can go to that site right there, grab you a couple of them, share some with your friends. Buy something for them. And yeah, go ahead and do that for yourselves. All right. So before we get started, we have rapid fire questions. All right. And this is a time that our audience get a chance to know who our guest is, what they like, what they do not like, what's their favorite movie, all that good type of stuff. Now, I did not prep Katie for this, so this is really off the top of the dome, and we're
Oh,
gonna see what answers she give. All right, so we're gonna see whether you'll stumble through this or will you be decisive in what you really like. Okay, you ready for this?
yes.
All right, here we go. Favorite TV show right now?
Right now, Snowflake.
Okay, Snowflake. I haven't really get a chance to watch that, but I want to check it out.
For now,
Okay, I'll check it out. All right. Okay. Favorite dessert?
cheesecake, strawberry cheesecake.
Oh, strawberry cheesecake. That's specific. That's some good stuff right there. All right. Let's see. Favorite movie?
I have so many.
Oh,
Okay, the
see.
top of my head, favorite movie. The
Mm-hmm.
first Friday.
The first. Yeah. Okay. There you go. That is a
That's
classic.
one
There
of
you
them.
go. That's one of them. Are most of your movies classics or anything current?
Um, I cannot think right now. My life
See.
is filled of kids cartoons. So honestly, I thought of a lot
Mm-hmm.
of cartoons. So my favorite kid cartoon is I can't think of the name of it, but it's the one where the cartoons are in the brain.
Oh, you talking about? I know what you're talking about. Somebody help us out because we know what you're talking about.
But that's really my one of my favorite was. See,
Okay.
we
It
talk
was an
about
Inside Out.
children not having time for ourselves to really. I'm just into
Mm-mm.
my kids stuff.
Yeah, yeah. All my favorites are Disney shows. So Encanto, all that stuff as
Yeah, and
the
constantly.
favorites now. Okay, here we go. Introvert or extrovert?
I'm a little bit of both. So
Okay.
something like this, I'm gonna be exhausted when I'm done. So I'm
Hmm.
naturally an introvert.
Okay. So is it like you have to be in front of people, so to get your energy back, you have to kind of just be on your own for a little bit to
Mm,
kind of get restored? Okay. Got it. Got it. All right. Now this is the famous question I always ask. Let's see where you are with this. Um, grits, sugar or salt?
sugar. I mean, neither.
Yes.
Honestly,
Hey.
honestly, I can go without it.
Mm-mm. No, don't take it back. Don't take it back. Lene, you hear this? Sugar. All right. Sometimes I have to sneak sugar in my grits. She don't notice. But yes, sugar and grits is how things are supposed to be. All right. Here we go. Do you like outdoors or would you rather be indoors?
Indoors.
No camping for you? Nothing happened
My
like that?
husband's trying to get me to go. I'm probably gonna go for his birthday or something. But yeah, no, I'm good inside.
I really I didn't hear her. I didn't hear you. Did you say you don't like grits? Did she hear
No,
this right?
I like grits, but I
See?
rather not put salt or sugar. I would rather eat it plain. But if I had to choose,
Yeah.
I would rather go with sugar.
Oh yeah. She said she'd rather eat a plain. Never heard that.
I know,
Okay.
but I
All
like
right. Oh,
butter.
okay. That's interesting. Better. Okay, if there was any sports on TV and you had to choose, which one would you watch?
Football because my husband gonna have it on.
All right. So he not watching the playoffs right now?
Basketball, you know what? I haven't gotten back into basketball since the Bulls era with Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Tony Kukoc, BJ Armstrong. Like I'm back. I'm
Yeah.
still stuck. That was the best basketball for me as a little girl. So I haven't
Oh.
got back into it since then.
Oh wow, you haven't been watching the Warriors then. I'm sorry. You need to watch them. You'll fall back in love again, I promise. So 1998 was the last time you checked
That
out
I
a
really got
basketball
into
game.
basketball. Yes.
Oh, okay. 98. There it is, y'all. There it is. Okay. All right. Last one for a rapid fire question. If you could go to any place in the world for about a month, where would you go?
Oh,
A whole month.
a whole month. Um,
Yes.
I want to Dubai
Oh, okay. Now,
because
is
I
that
haven't
a
been yet.
bucket list? Oh, you haven't been yet. Okay.
Mm-mm.
So that's a bucket list that you will, okay, Dubai. All right. It looks pretty beautiful too. Yeah, it
Mhm.
looks nice. All right. Well, thank you for playing rapid fire questions. That is the end of that. And she said she would rather not have sugar or salt on her grits. She like plain Jane grits. Matter of fact, she probably let it get hard and eat it as a patty. So we don't know. We don't know how she rolled there. So, but there you go. Hopefully, you got a chance to know Miss Katie and her ways and her favorite dessert. Was it strawberry cheesecake? The strawberry is on the cheesecake.
Yes, yes, yes. Like strawberry
Okay.
cheesecake. Mm-hmm. Never had
Yeah.
strawberry
These.
cheesecake?
Oh, I did. I did. There was the people in Oakland know what I'm talking about. A restaurant or a burger spot called Nations, and they used to sell cheesecake and have the strawberries on top. It was delicious. Now I haven't found a place that sell it quite like that yet. Maybe there's some diner around. But I'm in North Carolina now, so I haven't found
Mhm.
that just yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need to look for that. We need to look for that for sure.
Or just
All
try
right,
to
so here
when
we.
you come to the East Coast, go to Junior's, get you
Oh,
your cheesecake.
now you're in Jersey, right?
Yeah, I'm in Jersey, yes. But Junior's
Okay, so
does have a really good cheesecake.
juniors. Okay, I have a couple of friends from Jersey, so I'm gonna ask them about what is it called again? Juniors.
Junior's, it's in New York.
It's in New York. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Well, I haven't been to New York, so that's one of the spots I need to roll to.
Yes.
Okay. So listen, if you haven't yet, go ahead and share, heart it up, because we about to get into some good stuff right now. Okay. And I think this is something that everyone would like to know, because this month, and correct me if I'm wrong, is Mental Health Awareness Month. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes. It is.
Yes. Okay. So what else are we going to talk about other than mental health? And one of the things I'm really excited to get to is talking about mental health in relationships, and we'll get there. But first, I would like to start off by asking you, psychotherapist, did you always want to be in the mental health field? Did you find yourself intrigued in learning about people, discovering who they are and how they think, or how did this come about?
Yeah, absolutely. Ever since I was younger, a child, I was always that person that people gravitated
Hmm.
to and want to talk to. And so I
Hmm.
would help them sort. I was that voice of reason when my friends, was, getting into things.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just always, and then even my siblings and my mom, like I've always been that person to, you know,
Mm.
challenge their thoughts and things.
So you was always intrigued by the way people think. Now, did that let me see. Did that get you in trouble sometimes? Because sometimes when kids like to think and like to think around their parents and think they slick, did that ever get you in trouble at times?
Of course, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So when did you feel like, okay, I want to take this further. I actually want to pursue this. Like, when did it click to you?
um, Probably like while I was in high school or so,
Mm.
because I picked my major where I was going to go to college, and I was going to major in psychology. So
Mm.
I honestly don't remember what made it click, but I just always knew that I wanted to get into the field. Yeah.
Okay.
But what made me decide what exactly I wanted to get into with mental health and things was because I came from a big family. So
Mm-hmm.
I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. So I like to work with families because of my upbringing.
Right.
We are a very big family. My
Mm-hmm.
mom, was a foster parent and she adopted children. And so I also like the system aspects of
Mm.
that type of therapy because I believe people are who they are in relation to systems. So whether
Mm.
you have some involvement with the criminal justice system or child welfare system, system, these systems become part of who you are. And so, the impact of those different things
Mm.
helps create a family and some of the issues within it. Um, so yeah, and then from generation to generation, certain things continue, like that cycle continues.
Mm-hmm.
That's my interest, and that's how I ended up there.
Awesome. Now and I feel like it's getting a little bit better, but within the Black community, there's a stigma, on mental health. Not airing out your business to other people, or they say I'm not crazy. How could you ease someone's concerns about, going to therapy and figuring out, how they think? How can you ease someone's concerns on that?
Yeah. So what I like to tell people when it comes to like whether or not they believe that they should with religion, um,
Mm-hmm.
that God would want you to work. He gave you these tools to use them. Like he would want you to
Mm-hmm.
get additional help outside of the church. The church is good because it gives you those resources and something to believe in. But as far as going, deep to understand how your body works, your brain is science. You would go
Mm-hmm.
to the doctor if your heart wasn't right. So why can't you go to a therapist
Yeah.
if your mind's
Yeah.
not
You right. That's
right?
absolutely right. And I guess it's hard to think about that because we're so, I guess, attached to our opinions, and since if it's nothing physically, so to speak, wrong with us, then why should I go and express myself the way I think, to somebody else
Right.
or a stranger? But yeah, that's been a big thing coming up. So
Mhm.
in this field, and so okay, you got your career going, um, you figured out what you want to do. What are some, just, I guess, some of the obstacles with doing this in this career in this field?
Well, going back to what you were saying, like the stigmas and things, and being a
Mm-hmm.
person of color, sometimes it can be a little difficult to work with people who really don't believe in the process or who's skeptical about the process or who, you
Mm-hmm.
know, so so education is big, right? Getting out there, educating people in the community, breaking those stigmas,
Yeah.
teaching them and letting them know what mental health is about because it's not just, excuse me, at the point where there's a mental illness and you see the extreme. Mental health actually starts early on. It's your whole well-being. It's who you are. It's
Mm.
how you're taking care of yourself. It's when you have a stressful situation, do you rely on a substance like
Mm.
drinking, alcohol or marijuana or drugs, or do you, do healthy coping skills like working out and,
Mm-hmm.
journaling or talking to people. So it's just a lot of
Mm.
education that is so important to do in the community. But I will say things are getting better. People are, especially the younger generation,
Yeah.
they'll talk about a therapist in a minute, like, oh, I need to call my
Mm-hmm.
therapist. Or, oh, you don't have a therapist. So it's changing along the
Right.
way, younger people. So the population that is still very skeptical is like, maybe 45 and up, are still a little
Mm-hmm.
skeptical about the process. But a lot of the younger generation is really getting involved. They're advocating
Mm.
for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. I have a few friends that's just free say, yo, I just, had to chop it over my therapist real quick. It's like, man, that I never used to really hear that. That
Mhm.
was kind of like almost like you said, someone would notice that there's a mental illness or they, came to the end of the rope and then they went to go check in. But now it's like, this is just a part of my life. And, say my therapist is like, hey, I went to my doctor, and I think that's pretty good. Now, my wife constantly asks me, say, "Hey, you need to get a therapist," but I always say, "Man, I don't really have that much time, to go
Mhm.
into somebody's office and to spend like an hour with them." But what would you say to me? I will say that person, but what would you say to someone like me that feel like they don't have the time to go in and to meet with a therapist? They feel like they already have a stacked plate.
Yeah, I mean, we can make time for anything. So your well-being is important. So that should be your priority. So it's just
Mm,
again, just making sure you take care of yourself and putting yourself first. So these days they have better options instead of having to go to the office, wasting gas. Like you can meet with your therapist right in your living room or your
mm,
bedroom or whatever space that you want, virtually. They have a lot of
mm,
virtual options. And at first, people was hesitant about it, but the pandemic has shown and proved that it's a
yeah.
really good resource to have,
Mm,
especially if you're in an area where you may not have a lot of people of color who are therapists. So like in your area, so I'm going to use Bloomington Normal for example. Like they do have, therapists of color, but it's very limited. So if
mm,
you live in the state of Illinois, you can actually pick a therapist anywhere in the state of Illinois, so out of Chicago or so, and they can see you
mm.
virtually. So that is more motivating for people to really try, or if maybe they don't want to see a therapist in their area for whatever reason. Um, Although we have confidentiality rules, some people still not comfortable to see a therapist and tell their business to in the area that
Yeah.
has things that I had people say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's good. And I think that's pretty cool. And I noticed that even starting the pandemic, that even physicians started to say, hey, just tell me your symptoms online. You don't even have to come in, you don't have to ask. Just tell us what's going on and we'll, either FaceTime me or we'll contact you that way. So that's pretty cool that, I don't have to go in and I can just meet with them, the therapist at my home. But let's talk about the pandemic. As we all know, 2020 hits the first thing or the first time that most of us had a chance to really stay home. I wouldn't even say a chance to stay home. More so, we
Mhm.
had to stay put. And during that time, we've seen a lot of things take place in 2020, and that even up till recently, up until now. Um, but what would you? How much does that play? into our psyche with all the things that we noticed? And then, two-part question: what would you say to that person that has not, went to therapy yet? Do you think they should? Do you think the person is okay or trying to cope the way they should? Or what would you say to that? Because we took in a lot and still, and still are seeing a lot. So how important is our mental health in this time in our lives?
Yeah, it's very important. I mean, a lot of traumatic events has happened, a lot of
Yeah.
stress, a lot of things, a lot of loss and grief, right? And when we say loss and grief, it's not necessarily deaths, although that has happened, but people lost their sense of well being, right? Like schedules completely changed. People were locked in their
Hmm.
homes by themselves alone and had to deal with that. And or they were, with family more than intended, and that was a stressor for some people as well, right?
Mm.
Because sometimes for
Yeah.
some, right, moms, sometimes getting out the dad, sometimes getting out the door in that drive is the peace that you get.
Hmm. Yep.
So we had a lot of people who were stressed out. They couldn't do their
Mm.
little, break. And it's so much happened. People lost jobs. Um, people, that anxiety completely increased. So if you already had a little bit of symptoms of having anxiety, it went up out the roof because you're
Mm.
fearful of what could happen. It was the unknown. No one knew what COVID could do or what it, the long term effects. Right? We still don't really know.
Right. Right.
So people became very paranoid. Or if you did get COVID, you people dealt with that, right? The fear of not knowing how sick you're gonna get. I don't know if you
Hmm.
experienced COVID yet, but it's not a good process because you're sick for a period of time and you have to wait and see who else in this household is gonna get this.
Mm.
How sick will they get, right? So a lot of depression, not being able to see loved ones that live far away, being
Mm.
fearful you're going to give it to them because you may not know if you have it. I mean, we can
Yeah.
go on and on all day, the impact that COVID has
Um,
had.
yeah.
And I know for myself, working as a therapist, listen, we were busy. We were busy, busy, busy.
Mm.
And that we have to do self care ourselves and, turn down people because it was heavy, heavy stuff.
Wow. Yeah, and I can imagine just the uptick in and the amount of clients that you have to see again due to the anxiety and depression and the loss. Um, but what also, in that time that we saw a lot of unrest that we've seen at that point in time. And tell me how did that look as on your side of counseling people through that?
The what? Say that again. I'm sorry. That last part.
For the rest, like what did that look like for you counseling people through that, with noticing the unrest and you
Oh,
know managing you know managing their emotions through what they just saw, um you know like
um.
being affected and having to counsel someone at the same time.
Oh yeah. So again, I had to practice a lot of self care. I had to pause. I think at one time I took a break and I called my clients and I just told them I won't be seeing anybody this week.
Mm,
Because it was a lot. It was a lot. And then dealing with work and there are changing rules. So I see clients part time in my private practice, and then I have a full time job. So
okay.
yeah, so I had to just set my boundaries because I can't help anybody if I can't help myself, right? If
Yeah.
my well being isn't good, so I had to tap into my resources, and really get myself together because it's an energy, right? Like you
Yeah.
can't be good. Like even in ministry as a pastor or whatever, like if you don't have that spiritual connection in that moment for whatever stress you may have, you
Mm,
have to really just take that time to recharge, right? We all
mm.
have a battery and we have to recharge it. So
Yep, you're absolutely right. There were a time for pastors, and I want to dip in to self care in a second, but there were a time Where if you're a pastor, you just go and you go and you go, because everyone is, dependent on you. Everybody is tugging at you, and then even the pastors themselves feel like, there's no time for rest. But now I notice a lot of pastors are taking Sabbaths or taking breaks, months off or a month off to just kind of collect themselves. So the question I have for you is, how important? I know you're gonna say very important, but what are the benefits of self-care? Now I like, we kind of discussing just kind of the, the downtime, down, I guess, times of mental health. But on the other side of that, we are talking about mental health. There's a healthy part of that. And what are the benefits of self-care? And y'all, before she answer, if you're watching this and you struggling with this self-care thing, you might need to get a pen and a pad, because you might need to write this down so you can remember the benefits of this.
Yeah, there's a lot of different benefits of self-care. So one of them is to gain clarity and understanding, right? So going back to what we were
Mm-hmm.
saying of how you need to recharge, it's so important to gain clarity because you may feel like you have a lot going on and you can't focus. So there's health reasons, not just the mental health, but also physical health that you want to
Mm-hmm.
have there. If you don't take time for yourself, to really take care, um,
Yeah.
you're not going to be good for anyone.
Yeah. And so, what are some great self-care tips? What are some things that we can do?
Um, Tap into your spirituality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whatever that may be for you, really have a set schedule, like whatever sometimes we do and we don't know where we going, where we moving. So sometimes if you have a schedule to help you figure things out and to figure out where you can put things in for yourself, that's very helpful. Setting
Mm-hmm.
healthy boundaries, right? So telling people
Hmm.
no.
Well, you can tell people no.
Yeah, tell them no.
Ah.
Just like that, no. No, but seriously,
Yeah.
it's something that you have to practice. And
Mm.
affirmations, like telling yourself positive things, being
Mm.
positive. Not when I said setting healthy boundaries, that's not being around people that's negative Nancy's, Debbie Downers, downward
Mm.
Dan, right? All that
That's a lot of.
becomes heavy.
I never heard that downward Dan. I
Yeah,
haven't heard
yeah,
that
yeah.
one.
We're not gonna just say women and give them stuff. It's men too. I made that
Okay.
up.
All right. Downward Dan. But no, that's
Downward
that's so
Dan.
true. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And so my wife is she's been very into setting the schedule, and I feel like she's doing better about this. Um but again, setting that schedule for a routine. Um what have you seen from that, from people setting schedules, having their routines?
Yeah, so you won't forget so much. Like you won't feel like you're going in a circle and trying to figure out what you need to do.
Mhm.
Um, it helps you to um, have energy, right? Because you can now schedule stuff in between to take care of yourself. So as it may sound silly to schedule, okay, me time, okay, time with my husband, okay, time, it may sound silly, but it actually helps. It really gives you a set schedule to go. It helps you gain clarity. So
Mhm.
there's a lot
Mm,
of
very
benefits.
clearly.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm a night owl. And so, is there really a such thing as night owls, or is that just, you don't know how to go to bed? Like, because a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm a night owl, I'm an early riser," and so, like, night owls, is that really a thing? Is there a healthy way to still be a night owl?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like some people are night
Mm.
owls because they've worked the night shift and they may
Hmm.
sleep during the day or may sleep late. Um, but we can talk about sleep. So what's
Oh,
healthy is
okay.
to make sure you get the right amount of sleep. That's part of self care. So if you're not sleeping and you're leaving yourself 3 hours or less, or 4, I think they
Mm,
say you have to at least 5 hours. So if you're getting
okay.
less than that, then that is a sign that you need to see someone because that's not
Oh,
healthy. Oh,
okay.
because
Okay.
we
No, no.
need
See, I
a
sleep more than
healthy
that. I do.
feeling. Mhm.
So I sleep more than that. I do. I was just trying to figure out. Let's see. Okay, at least four, right? You said at least 4 hours or five.
You need
Where we
sleep
going?
to help you regenerate your body, everything. Sleep
Uh.
is so important. It helps with your mood. It helps with your energy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sleep's important. And if you're not sleeping because you can't, maybe you got a lot of stuff on your mind. That's a sign of
Mm.
anxiety there.
Okay,
If
and
you have
that's
what we
oh,
call
okay.
a resting mind.
Uh. So if you can't let
There
things
you go,
go,
Lynette. Lynette said it should be 7 hours. So
seven
I know
hours. Who
it
sleeps seven
range. It
hours?
range on the age and it range on you know, how you're sleeping. So some
Mm.
people can nap and like so they may get 4 hours at night and then nap for a couple of, it just depends on a couple of things. But
Mm.
definitely check with your doctor on that and but you
Mm.
definitely need some sleep. Some good sleep.
Some good sleep. Okay. And so here's the questions, and I think a lot of people that are in relationships will probably appreciate this. And I'm gonna say this because I'm asked this question, but it's frowned upon if one of the either person in a relationship asks for time to themselves. Is that wrong to ask for time to yourself, or to ask for a day of let me just get away somewhere else and just rest? Now, this is a person that got family, they got a job, not just y'all empty nesting, you just don't want to be around them. I'm talking about you got responsibilities, and is it okay to just have
Yeah, this
time
is
to
a good
yourself?
question. It is a really good question. What I tell my couples is it really is a understanding between the two of you, right?
Okay.
So I have some couples who allow it. Like, hey, yeah, go ahead. You go away this weekend. Go ahead and go with your girls, and I'll be here. And then next weekend or next month, I'm gonna go. So some couples do that and take care of the household or get
Mm.
make arrangements or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So what makes it healthy is what the two people decide. But if you have a situation where one partner is not in agreement with that time away, then that's the conflict. So you guys have to come
Mm.
up with some type of compromise.
Mm. That's true. Okay, that's true because you have uh couples that may not trust one another. You have
Mhm.
those who, yeah, I think that's just the basic one. They don't trust them. So, like, you going away? Where are you going? What you doing? So, what are some ways that you can prove, like, hey, we're going to be faithful, or not just even just a lack of faithfulness, but what if they think, oh, this person don't want to be around me anymore? They just want to get away. Like, what are some tips that a person can do? Now, I know everyone's an individual, but what can a person do or say to help ease, the person's mind that doesn't have, that trust there yet?
Well, I mean, it
It's nothing
depends
you can
on
say.
what has happened in the relationship. Again,
This is true.
relationships are so complex. Um, that it depends on, a lot of moving parts. What has
Mm,
happened?
mm-hmm.
Where was the trust lost?
Right.
Again, what's the system like? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it just depends. It just really
Okay.
depends.
So what you're saying is, listen, if you asking for time away, you have better have a clean track record, because if you don't, then that time away ain't really gonna happen. That's just
Well, I don't think it's always just trust. Sometimes it's not always trust. Sometimes it's what are what are we saying as a couple? What is our family
Mm-hmm.
system like? What do we value? Right? So if
Yeah.
we value family time, if we value, spending time with each other, what are we saying if I allow you to go away for a weekend? You know what I mean? So it's really that conversation that the couple needs to have to get an understanding. Now, maybe it's something you work out where you do once or twice a year,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like, what is the understanding? Or no, if you going, we going.
Mm.
Right? You
Mm.
can go be with your girl, but we're gonna be back here at the hotel, type of thing. So
Mm.
what is that communication? Where is the middle ground in that? But that's a really good question, and it's actually very common. So but sometimes it could be trust. Maybe it's just and that's
Mm-hmm.
not trust. If nothing has happened for the person for you not to trust the person, then that means that there's some insecurity somewhere from someone.
Mm.
That's normal, but it means that it has to be worked through, right?
Right.
So something about that is triggering my
Mm-hmm.
insecurities that I may have. I may have some stuff that now comes up because believe it or not, in relationships when we're supposed to be the happiest, and being married and having our children and blah blah blah, like
Mm-hmm.
those times is when a lot of things starts resurfacing that you never really dealt with or you thought you dealt with, and it just comes back
Right.
up, interferes in the relationship.
Mm. Wow, there's so much I want to get into as far as relationships. We and like I say, with our guests, we normally have a prep night, and I always say like, man, we're gonna have to probably do a separate podcast for this, because we try to touch on everything within this 1 hour and give y'all free stuff. And so we try to get all that in within an hour. But I really want to stay on this subject of relationships, and I always, I used to hear this, when I was single, and even a little bit after I was married. But when Christian dating, and they believe that, hey, I have Jesus, they have Jesus, that's all we need. That's all we need, and everything's gonna be fine. Uh,
Mm.
is that a myth? Is that help us out here, because I have probably some singles that may be watching, and they think, listen, we good, we love each other, they love the Lord, I love the Lord, and we're gonna be fine.
Yes, you know who is a perfect person to talk on that too? My friend Natalia. She's a great
Mm,
person to talk on. Natalia Powers, man. Yeah. Um, so what I say is, you know, we
come on.
historically, right, in church, we have a tendency to hide things in the
Hmm.
church because that's where we get guidance, right?
Yeah.
That's what it started from. It's like you get guidance. The pastor and everybody, the women of the church come together and they discuss. You talk to them of what you should do,
Hmm.
but that got mixed up with people's trauma, right? Like all that
Hmm.
stuff, religion and people's trauma, reading the Bible and trying to put it in context with things. It just, mixed things up. So is that a myth? Yeah, I wouldn't say a myth. I think, yeah, I guess a myth.
Hmm.
But I think that things got lost. The original message definitely got lost in that. Like, yeah,
Hmm.
I think that it is good to have a network of people where you can communicate with in the church, right? To give you sound advice. But the problem with that is when people aren't well, when they're not well themselves, they are in the
Hmm.
church as well. And
Yeah.
those people who aren't well are the ones who are giving this unhealthy advice, right?
Hmm.
They may be dealing with husbands who have cheated. They may be dealing with um, being molested themselves, like a victim of different things. So, you
Yeah.
know, trauma lives in the church
Hmm.
as well as it does in the community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Not. And when I give this, advice, it's like, they're still the person you have to deal with. Like, we understand, like, yes, you come to the Lord, He is working on you, but that's not absent of your upbringing or what you have been through. And so, um, and I think you were talking about marriage, like you getting married and everything is just like peaches and and roses, and it's not that way, but it's not like a bad thing. It's just that you're still dealing with another human being.
Yeah, and development, like just like child have development, relationships have development, right? We
Yeah.
are individuals who continue to grow. We are not the same people we were 5 years ago. We were not
Mm-hmm.
the same people we were 10 years ago, and we're still going to change, right? The things that I used to like
Mm-hmm.
10 years ago, because me and my husband were going on our 10-year anniversary, is not the same things
All
that
right.
I still like 10 years ago. Like I'm not that
Mm,
same person you marry. I am
mm,
different, right? And so I think understanding that and having that communication and being
mm.
accepting of that, right? Sometimes I'm not going to like my significant other. Doesn't mean that I don't love them, but
Mm-hmm. That's can you say that again? Can you say that because some people think when they get married they go always like them like the movies. You know what I'm saying? So what would you say? You're not gonna always like your significant other,
not always gonna like my significant other.
and that
But
means but you still love them. Huh?
yeah,
Is
right?
that possible?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But
you're
that
right.
what the amazing thing about that is that you won't know it until you experience it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then like newlyweds or people who aren't married and they're engaged is just always good to hear, how they're like, these great things, which
Mm-hmm.
is there's those great things, but just understand. And that's the thing, like to just when we think about marriage, I think where a lot of people misunderstand is that people don't talk about the bad as much as they should,
Mm.
right? We only
Yeah.
talk about the good things about marriage. Oh, you're getting married? Oh, great. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't want to be a Debbie Downer and say, oh, don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's the saying
You
because
want
you're
to
gonna
say,
sound like a hater. Yeah, like you hate like I'm not talking to you. What you talking about? I'm not gonna like them sometimes. Like I'm gonna always love them. See, and then it's like, okay, well we gonna wait, you know, because I noticed something about when people first get in relationships and you can see it on Facebook. It's like everything's just boom, just glamorous, and then it just kind of dwindles. But I think it doesn't have to, but more so I think it's more so being I guess intentional about pursuing that, and I think that's what gets left out is you I guess you believe that it's always going to be this way, but then without the intentionality of keeping it, or like you said, not always going to like them. And I think that comes up, and I always give this advice is that when you're dating, you go home. You can go home, like when I was dating, we went home. Or if you mad at somebody, you don't call them. But when you married, you don't have that option, right? So you there day in and day out, and there will be some times where you're not because you're there with them every single day. But I think the power in that is, again, like you said, you're not gonna really know what that's like until you live through it. Is that
Mhm.
how you get reconnected and how it gets better each time that you grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's all about repair. I think that so people have to understand like conflict is natural and it's normal, but it's
Hmm.
how you deal with it, what you do with it, right? And like you said it right. Like you cannot live in the same house and not talk to your spouse for a week. I mean, you can do it, people do it all the time, but it's just not
Hmm.
healthy. What happens is you're reconditioning them, you're reconditioning them to
Mm,
get used to that behavior, and it disconnects you further and further away. And so y'all
mm,
just living in a marriage and not being in a marriage, right? If
mm,
when something like that happens. So connection is so important. How you repair is key.
mm, mm, mm,
So even with the worst type of thing that something can happen in a marriage, like infidelity, a couple can have something like that happen, but it's how they work on it to repair it. So they can have a healthier, richer marriage than someone who didn't have infidelity.
Mm. Yep.
That's deep, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, 'cause
Because
you
it's
think all
all
things are lost.
yeah, it's all about how it's being repaired, right? How you guys are treating each other. And one of the big things I like to tell my couples when they just going at it is like, listen, talk to him like you love him. Talk to her like you love her. Because sometimes when we are in a relationship, we so used to it, it's just start talking just disrespectful.
Mm. Absolutely.
Right. So, I
Absolutely.
mean, that is key. That helps remind, like, yeah, I do love this person. Why am I saying that? Why am I doing this? Right.
Mm.
Because our other spirits of those emotions, right? That
Mm-hmm.
jealousy, that spitefulness, that anger,
Mm.
that rage, all that stuff. That's stuff that you have to deal with within. And so that's why bringing it back to mental health and relationships is so important, right? So
Mm.
people don't get that concept, what that looks like. So that is self care. Mental health, again, is what are you doing to take care of yourself, right?
Right.
And yourself is your mental, emotional, and physical well being.
Mm.
So that includes in a relationship making sure your feelings and emotions are valid.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in a
Wow.
relationship, if what you're saying is not being heard, you're going to be frustrated, right? And you're not going to have that connection. You're not going to be able to have intimacy.
Mm.
And when we speak of intimacy, it's not just sex, it's deeper than that, right?
Mm.
So sometimes, a lot of times with women, it starts here, starts in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
They can't be intimate when there's stuff happening. It makes them
Mm.
disconnect. They can be present, but they're not there. They don't want to be touched. They don't want to be bothered because
Mm.
there's things that's not right. And it takes them away from that intimacy. Whereas some men, they don't, whatever, I can still
Mm.
have intimacy, right? So it's just, again, it's the repair and communication, how you were working on things. And you don't want it to get to be too much before you can get to that
Mm-hmm.
repair. Because the
Wow.
more you fight and disconnect, the harder it is to connect again.
Mm.
And then throw some kids on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
there's phases of that,
Yeah.
you know.
So kids, and sometimes I don't know if you ever experienced it. Sometimes we arguing, the kids will be the ones to tell you the right thing to do. It's like you need to stop and be kind. It's okay. It's
Yeah, the true
like what do
story.
you know? Like what do you
Yeah,
know? But it's right, it's right.
yeah.
But
My son
look,
does that.
mm-hmm,
Like we're not even arguing. We just talking, and he'll be like, "Y'all need to." This is just a conversation.
mm-hmm,
So yeah, kids
absolutely,
are there to remind you to chill. Yes.
mm-hmm, absolutely. So look, I told y'all that you needed to bring a pen and a pad because Katie just dumped a whole lot of stuff. Gave you some marriage tips, gave you some dating tips, gave you all kind of stuff for your relationships and self care and all that type of stuff. Listen, I told we couldn't finish this all in this one show, and it's already we're at 55 minutes. So listen, uh, we want to get to giving away the gift. All right, and let me see. This is how you enter. Okay, all you have to do is put in hashtag self care in the comments. All right. And when we start seeing that hashtag self care, what do we want to get? Are they choosing between what are they choosing between?
So our journal, which is a journal for a parent and child, or the entrepreneurial therapy guide, which is a journal for an entrepreneur.
Okay. So if you're an entrepreneur, I'm pretty sure you might want that one. Then you go ahead and put in hashtag self care, or again, either journal for the entrepreneur or journal for the parent, right? And so if you want either one of those, go ahead and put in hashtag self care. But while that's happening, Could you give? I'm trying to figure out who you want to talk to. Anyone. What about, let's say, busy moms? All right, busy moms have a lot on their plate: jobs, kids, whole families. Um, what would you say to them? What's some encouragement that you can give them that pertain to their mental health?
So you gotta, if you can't take care of you, you won't be able to take care of anybody else. So do what is best for you. And it depends on the phase you're in of if you're a single person, a single mom, just always put
Yeah.
yourself first in order to get what you want. For sure.
Mm. So is it like, like on an airplane, before you put on anyone else's mask, you need to put your mask on first in order to save somebody else.
Absolutely. But it's so hard for us to do that. But yeah, you have to. You're not gonna be well, right? And it goes to that saying
Right.
too. Happy wife, happy home, happy
Mm.
wife, happy life.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds conflicting, but if you think about that, the wife is usually taking care of a lot of things, and if she's not able to take care of those many things, a lot of things are gonna fall
Mm.
apart.
Mm. There you go. Now I know, brothers. I know it sound like what you mean? I'll do something too. This is for both, all right. But we do know that our wives are, what I'm saying, or whether you live with your mother or whoever that woman is in your life, that
Hmm.
they take on a lot, and looking at my daughter now, just by nature, she wants to be in a lot. She wants to handle a lot and, to take control. But yes, brothers, that's for you too. You need to
But
take some self
I got
care.
something for the men too. I got something for the men too.
All
Wait a
right, what you got
minute.
to say for the men? Go ahead. What you got to say for them?
So
I
for
want to
the
hear this.
men, you have to learn to take care of yourself physically and mentally and emotionally. So you when you do make a medical appointment, take time to really look into seeing a therapist as well because it's all connected. When you go to the gym, make sure that you are making your appointments to
Mm,
everything. It's a true thing because your well-being is important too, right? There's statistics about how men don't make it past certain things because they are,
mm,
it's that machismo, right? Like, I'm a man, I'm good. No, you're not. And it's okay.
mm,
It's
mm,
okay. How are you
mm,
going to break those those generational patterns if you are too stubborn to take care of yourself?
mm. Yeah. Absolutely right. Now, that sounds pretty tough in a society, and I think it's changing. I believe it's changing, but in a society where really the men aren't supposed to cry, and they're supposed to take it and keep moving forward. And even in some relationship advice, it's like, okay, my wife is mad. Okay, so what are you going to do to make it right? you know,
Mm.
or something's going on in my family. Well, if something's going on in the family, then it all falls on you. There's something wrong with your leadership. So it's like, again, everything goes right back, on the man. Even say you're a leader, whether you're leading well or you're leading bad, you're still a leader. So everything falls on you. Like what?
And
And
that
I know
language
supposed to
needs
be.
to change. And that
Oh,
language needs to change. So I hear what
really?
you saying. It definitely needs to change
Mm. That's an
because that's
unpopular opinion.
mhm. Yeah.
Okay, well, brother, you heard it here first from Miss Katie. So women, do what you need to do. Take care of yourself. Make sure that you get your time in. And brothers, make sure you making all of your appointments, not just to the gym. But and I know my wife's probably gonna ask me, so when you gonna make your appointment? All right, so you know, go ahead, saying, get the therapy that you need. And I think sometimes when you have things that is in you, you don't know what's in you unless you start to talk and start to vent, and then I feel like then that's when it comes out. And I believe a lot of men don't feel like they could be vulnerable. And I just told my wife the other day, it was like, sometimes men don't want to be vulnerable because we feel like that may be used against us later on down the line. When
Mhm.
you come up with something, you share something, and then a month later, it's like, well, I remember when you said, like, oh, see, there you go, that vulnerable moment. just got used. So how can we, I guess, get rid of that mindset that somebody's going to potentially use it against me? Is it, sharing regardless of what happens next, or how does that happen?
Yeah. I mean, no, you make a really good point, and that is something that definitely has to be talked about in the relationship, and also to understand that if she mentioned it to you, it's just you, it's not the
Hmm.
world, right? But therapists, we can't do that. So maybe you need to see one of those too, in addition
There you
to,
go. In addition to,
in addition
well,
to.
there you go, y'all. We have it. There we have it, y'all. That's tell it now. I'm not gonna pick and usually I have a list Alicia pick, but she was pretty busy. She has a random wheel. So what we're gonna do is we are going to have Miss Katie choose who will win, and then I guess we'll put you in contact so they can choose which one they want. Because we do have a couple of entrepreneurs here, so it can go either way, and mom. So, all right, you go. Can you see the comments? Can you see who put in the hashtag?
Yeah, Tania Harris.
Oh, okay. Well, that's Tanya Harris. She was on here last week
Oh,
and she
Tanya. I
won.
thought it was
That's all good.
sorry.
She won last week too. So Tanya, there you go again. Congratulations. I think she's gonna keep tuning in. I think she might win every time. But congratulations. Please, if you can put it in the comments, what you would like as far as either the journal for the parents or a journal for the entrepreneur. Let us know. But congratulations, you have won either one you choose. I don't know which one you're gonna choose, but we will get you in touch and we will get that too. But I want to say thank you again for coming on. And look, there you go. Let us know,
Yeah.
Tanya. Let us know which one you want. But we have to continue this. I think this is a very there you go. She won one for entrepreneurs.
Very good.
Uh,
Okay.
there you go. So I will send you her information. Um, and Ty, make sure you go ahead and follow Katie. I feel like there's a lot of good stuff that's there, and she does a lot of good on social media. But I feel like we need a part two, um, or we do have to tell it podcast, and so if we want to jump on that and just really hone in more so on relationships and more so on the mental health because there's so many ways we can go. We can figure that out. But thank you for coming on. It was
You're
really
welcome.
a great time.
I enjoy
I
myself.
don't know.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, no problem. It's a long time coming. I don't know about you all, but I feel like I got a little help. Now she cannot cancel you all. She is licensed in New Jersey, so you're gonna have to find a therapist in the state that you're in. But if you gotten anything from this session, please take care of yourself. Please go ahead and get a therapist. I'm talking to myself too. And most importantly, once you do those things, you'll be able to help everybody else. And I know a lot of people are into helping others, but you can't do that unless you're good. But that's all I have. You have any parting words for anyone?
Nope, I think we did enough.
There you go. Perfect. Well, y'all, thank you
Mhm.
for tuning in to Tell It.
Thank you
Make
guys.
sure Thank you. Make sure you go ahead and let me go ahead and put this up here. Make sure you go ahead and follow her. My bad, this is personal, but go ahead and follow her on IG. All right. And then with that being said, go ahead and go to the website. Check it out. I'm pretty sure you can gain a whole lot. And that matter of fact, you will. Follow that. A lot of good resources. And also go ahead and follow me at Herbert underscore tell it on Instagram. And make sure when you go to YouTube, subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the bell so you can get the notifications. But other than that, we out of here. Thank you again, Katie. Thank you for all of you for tuning in. And I'll see you next time. Other than that, peace, y'all.
Good night.